Alright, looking at euro dollar again, 30-minute. Been destroying this pair, so let's just keep it up. We got these highs, these were last Friday's highs. We swept them today, today in the early morning, late Asia, early London. So that means the liquidity above Friday's highs, the liquidity above all of this week's highs have been swept. That's caused the violent move to the downside. What I'm going to be looking for, especially for the New York session, is a retest back up into this zone. If we can have this retest of 1.08400, we show some type of weakness from here. We maybe use our moving averages, or we maybe use our Fibonacci level to identify further confluence that this zone is going to be a rejection zone. We show some type of underside retest plus some weakness from that area, then I'm going to look to execute sells on euro dollar. In terms of targets, I really like the target of this weekly low. This is the low we formed last Thursday, the low we formed in yesterday's New York session. Equal lows, lots of liquidity resting below it, and that'll be for about 70 pips if we were to get that far. In terms of target one, pretty simple. I'm going to be looking for the cluster of volume and orders around this area, maybe 1.07950, maybe 1.08000 psychological level. So for the full target, it'll be about 2.8 RR. For target one, it'll be about 1.7 RR, depending on where we decide to close it. But for the time being, the position that we're looking to take, to execute, and to maintain is a retest into 1.08400 and a full move down to the weekly low, the equal lows of 1.07700. That's the current move I'm looking at on euro. As and when things progress and develop, when things bottom out and we can start looking at fib levels and whatnot, then I'll provide another update. I'm going to head to the gym now and then that was going to provide me with enough time to get back, to get some updates gone, etc, etc. Thanks for watching. Cheers guys, I'll be back within an hour or two. Alright, euro dollar one more time. Let's look to make some profits. So I'm looking for sells. What we've got Friday's highs, and we have the highs of all of this week, Monday, Tuesday, early Wednesday, and we swept all of them with a violent move to the upside. What we're having now is just a filling off any inefficiencies on this violent downside move, and we're tapping into our special little fib zone. Those who know, this is a very powerful zone. If we can see price just basically show rejection from here going into the New York Open in the next 5-10 minutes, if we get below 1.08450, then we're going to execute sells. Very simple sell model. Stop loss 25 pips, pretty significantly above the existing highs. In terms of targets, target 1 is here at 1.08080. That's about 1.5 risk to reward, 1.6 RR. And then target 2, our primary target, is the equal lows that rest all the way down here at 1.07700. That's the primary target that I'd like to hold the position all the way towards. With that said, we've already banked a lot of profit this week. If there's profit on the table, we will look to take it. But for the time being, I'm biased on shorts for euro dollar. As soon as I've taken my entry, I'll post it in the Discord, post with the relevant signal in the Discord. Apply an appropriate risk, and let's get this bread. Alright, hello. Euro dollar 30-minute. We have the sells that we took from this level here, 1.08500. We're currently in some drawdown, fairly minor, but about 15 pips or so. But what I would like to do is update the position, tell you where I'm at, tell you how I'm looking to manage it. So first things first, I've increased my stop loss by 7 pips, 32 pips total, which makes the stop loss 1.08820 now. Okay, I'm doing this to allow the trade to have some breathing room, to give us a chance to print this deviation and allow us to move towards the downside. Speaking of which, based off how momentum is looking at right now, how order flow is looking right now, I do believe in the Asian session we're going to move to the downside, and early into London begin this downside move looking into our target one. Target one here is 1.08000 flat, so just below these lows, the lows of today's New York London switchover. So as it stands, we're going to maintain the position that we currently have on euro dollar. We're going to increase the stop loss by 7 pips. That's going to make it 2.5 risk to reward instead of 2.8 or whatever it was before, maybe 3.0. Everything else remains unchanged. We're going to give the trade breathing room, expect a deviation, and allow this to run tomorrow in the London session. That's going to be all from me today, guys. I'm going to log off, get an early night. I'll be up active early for London, and I'm going to look to improve upon this already great week that we've had. Cheers. Alright, looking at euro dollar, final update for this initial London session. We took sales yesterday. Maybe we were a little bit early. We've just kind of stagnated and ranged throughout the Asian session, which makes sense. It's something we anticipated and expected. What I am looking to see now is for us to confirm below London's high. That's the London's high formed on yesterday's Wednesday session. We formed the high, we took out the stops during New York, and now we've just kind of ranged around the Asian session. If we can prove this to be resistance at 1.08600, then I believe we start moving to the downside. If this is proven as resistance over the next 2 to 3 candles on a 30-minute basis, then you can look to even add an additional position or enter your own position if you haven't got one already. And the way that would look is something along the lines of this 1.07700. So if I just mark that out, that is the position that you could look to take. It would be about 90 pips, same stop loss, which is all the way up here at 1.08820. So the way that we're standing on Euro USD, no change to the position. We're going to allow this to play out, and we want London's high to act as resistance, operate as our resistance, and then we can start moving to the downside. If weakness is shown from the current levels, then you can look to add some more risk, add an additional position, or get positioned yourself if you haven't already got one. That's all for me for the time being, guys. I'm going to update in a few hours when things change, when things develop. Cheers. Alright, what's going on, guys? Sid here, going through the euro dollar. We have 2 concurrent positions open. What I'm going to go through right now is how we're managing these positions. So first things first, we took the initial sell from 1.08500, that's around here. We're going to close this sell at current levels for break even, okay? This sell is now closed. We're break even plus 0R on the trade. All right. We are now going to focus on the second sell that I asked you to execute, which was down here, where I asked you to execute at 1.08700 with a stop loss of 1.08950. If we were to bring this over, what we're going to see is the trade is already running in significant profits, about 20 pips profit or so, just below 1R or 1%. I want to allow this trade to run throughout the rest of the New York session, potentially through to Asia and early London tomorrow. This seems to be the banger of the trade. We finally got the entry we were looking for all this time. Furthermore, if we come look at the moving averages are crossing over, further validating the fact that we are looking for downside momentum, that we're going to continue to the downside. My next area of interest is this FVG that sits just in this zone, let's call it 1.08250. As and when we get to this area, I'm going to reassess, reanalyze, and post my next update. With that said, I'm looking for the weekly low to be tested at the end of the day, which is going to be roughly a 100 pip move. So for the time being, close our first trade for break even, leave our second trade open, and let this shit run down to target 1, target 2, and potentially beyond. Cheers, guys. Alright, testing. Looking at Euro USD, 30-minute chart is our last trade of the week, given it's a Friday. We've just transitioned into the New York session. So essentially what I said last night, pre-Asia, is that I wanted to raise the stops to 40 pips, which is what we did do. And I did so in anticipation of a run of this New York high. That's exactly what we got in the London-New York switchover. Pretty easy to anticipate. It would have been optimal to get this entry, but we stuck with the one that we had. Because we moved to 40 pip stop loss, that means that I'm assuming your 1R is 40 pips, meaning our current 20 pips in profit is only 0.5R. What I'm looking for the time being is one or two things. I would either like price to move straight into 1.08300, this FVG, at which point I'll most likely look to close the trade, secure my profit for the day, for the week, etc., etc. And that'll be for plus 40 pips or plus 1 RR. Alternatively, if we were to start pushing back up to 1.08700, if this failed to hold as resistance, if we're able to break through this, then I might look to close the trade for a small 0.2R, 0.4R, something like that, minimize the risk for the week. We're already up 5% this week off the top of my head. If this trade comes through, we could be up 6%. If we manage our risk correctly and it goes against us, we're still going to be up about 5% or so. So the way that we're maintaining our position right now is just stay in sells 1.08700, allow them to run to this FVG. Once we price attempts to test this area, I'll reassess, I'll post my next update, I'll let you know what we're going to be doing next. Remember though guys, any push above 1.08700, I'll be alerted, I'll be on alert, looking to close the position, looking to cut our losses. Regardless, we've had a strong week, we want to end the week strong, we don't want to give away money that we've already earned. But best of luck guys, I'll be back with an update within hour, 2 hours maximum. Cheers. Alright, looking at euro dollar, 30 minute, this is the final update on our sell. So we closed the position, 36 pips or 0.9R profit at 1.08340. So main reason we closed it is we're coming into the weekly close. I don't want to carry risk over the weekend. I never like to carry the risk over the weekend. I'd rather bank our profit just like we did, clean end to the week. I think that puts us up at about 6R or maybe just above 6R for the week. Super strong week for us. It's much simpler for us to bank the profit. If I go into the reasons as to why, other than the obvious fact that is the weekly closure and we don't want to carry risk over the weekend, pay fees, etc., etc., etc. You can also see that we have this volume imbalance that we are perfectly tapping into right here. So what is possible is that on Monday morning or Sunday night, as the market reopens, we hold this area and start moving to the upside. If that were to be the case, we obviously don't want to be in the trade, we would rather be out of it, and henceforth we are just going to close the trade, not carry the risk over the weekend, and just secure our profit. Super strong week from us, super simple trade from us, very well managed in terms of risk. Cheers guys, that's all from me.